Welcome to the second part of this episode of Equalizer podcast. We continue this episode with Mr. Jack McFarland, a dedicated 32-year veteran of the Drug Enforcemente Administration and a Supervisory Special Agent with several assignments around the United States and the world. We are also joined by former CIA officer Robert Bunch, a former Marine reconnaissance and later on a CIA officer that worked in intelligence around the world and led counterterrorism operations and roles in human and special activities. Welcome to the second part of Equalizer, this interview that is taking us to different places with my friend Jack McFarland, retired from D8 after 32 years, and my brother Robert Bunch, ex-CIA, with a very impressive career, also as a Marine recon. Welcome back, guys.
Okay, Bill.
And thank you for being with me in the podcast. It's been a lot of fun. Jack, do you believe the war on drugs, which a lot of D8 agents don't like to call it a war on drugs, is winnable in its current form?
That's a tricky question. I mean, the war on drugs. I mean, since 1973, when President Nixon formed the DEA, I think the DEA goes out there every day, day in and day out, worldwide. CONUS, 200 some offices in CONUS, continental United States, and also 90 offices throughout the international theaters. I mean, we are an elite organization. There's others, of course, involved, all the alphabets as well. Do we need something? I personally love to see DEA grow. I would personally love to see DEA grow, more personnel, more agents, male, female, of course, support personnel. Is it winnable? It has to be working with in-country personnel as well. The in-country personnel, the Mexicos, the CENTAM countries, South Americas. Look at how Colombia, when it first came on the scene back in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, how they were just going bananas, and we were getting all the dope from Colombia. Well, guess what happened? Colombia stepped up. The Colombian National Police stepped up. Ecuadorian, Venezuelan, Guyana, Suriname. You got to start with the in-country. Mexico, I think Mexico needs to bring it a little harder. I really believe that. Can we win it? We got to make some adjustments, and those adjustments got to be, me personally, more personnel, more bodies.
So you're saying that the countries where these drugs are produced and where these synthetic drugs are produced need to step up to the plate and do their part. Because
yes,
we're doing most of the part. I mean, even though the Colombian National Police has given a lot of police officers lives, they lost a lot of agents, prosecutors, judges, and all of that.
They have definitely sacrificed. There's no doubt about it.
A lot of sacrifice, right? But you think that they have, if they want something from us, they have to also give something back. Because, we pour a lot of money into those countries in a lot of programs, not only the anti-narcotic program, but also with their militaries, with schooling, with hospitals, with different type of things. But we're not seeing the real return of those monies.
Well, I gotta step back a little bit. If I talk to the Asian personnel that were in those particular countries, in those host countries, in the Colombians, into the Venezuelans, into Mexicos, they're seeing a whole different way of enforcement than because why? My exposure to those countries was as a former agent inspector. Come in, you do your thing for a week or so, and you get out. But the ones that are living there, working there with the other host countries, they know better to answer the question. Me personally, from 1,000 miles away looking in, it always has to be a cooperative spirit between in-country and what DEA is doing. Now remember, DEA is not the only alphabet in town. CIA, FBI, Homeland Security. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. But yet, I think we could do. We're the greatest country in the world. The United States of America is the greatest country in the world. If we put our minds to it, we could take care of business. But how are you going to take care of business if you're not stepping up to the plate, maybe a little harder, a little stronger? I'm not running for office here. I'm not being a politician here. Some of your listeners are here sitting back going, oh, wow, this guy's out of his mind. Well, let me tell you something. For 32 years, I saw it. I saw it from the low levels to the medium levels, to the international levels, and the high levels. Been part of it, did it. You know what? And I'm one of those guys. There's an old saying, you were tough once. You know what that means? You were tough once? Well, the person that sees me now, or sees Bobby now, or sees you now, they don't know what we've been through, what we've done. And I'm not trying to say, oh, boo-hoo. I don't boo-hoo. What I am saying is, if we really put our minds to it, if we really want to stop the scourge, stop the fentanyl, stop killing 80,000 people a year, well, the Mexico's got to stop saying, well, that's because you guys have a thirst for it. You have a thirst for it. Which, yes, we are human. There are alcohol. There is gamblers. We all have that urge for certain things. But I do believe if we put our minds to it, everyone collectively, we could do a much better job. And I've been doing it. Say something, Bob.
No. Did you ever work? I think they were called, and you spent much more time down there than I did. The Lobos, the federales.
In Mexico's?
Yeah, and Bogota, Medellin, Cartagena, down there. It was like their drug high-speed guys, their task force. So my point to that is, I didn't know if you had ever worked with these guys, but these guys were the jazz, man. No, they were grown-ass men going out doing God's work every day of the week.
Yep.
And it's going between Medellin, Cartagena, Bogota, and I can't remember who it was in Panama, but no, these guys were doing good stuff. And what they wanted to do was to make sure that they wanted just to survive, man. That was it. They wanted to make sure that fentanyl, cocaine, whatever, dude, that it wasn't not only propagated in their own country, but it's going north. Because if it's not occurring in their country, it's not going north. So you had those dudes, and those guys were super, super dope, man. And people can shit on immigration, whatever. No, through my lens, drugs is a key. And one of the things about it, take it back to what Jack said about if we want to unfuck this, no, we have to invest in it. And if you let's do the math on this, like right now. If you guys look at this, man, what we have is in there's country on the west coast of Africa.
Suriname.
Suriname.
Excuse me. Let's see. Nigeria. Somalia's on the East Coast.
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. Yes, Sierra Leone.
Yep.
Sierra Leone.
And so
the northern part.
Yep. So it sits over there. So China and Iran, they're in Sierra Leone right now. Why are they in Sierra Leone? Because Sierra Leone does not have a stable government. So since the United States starts sweating Venezuela, then that's where they're trapped. And dude, they're doing, the majority of it is drugs and weapons and a little bit of human trafficking. That's what they're doing in Sierra Leone. And man, I'll get a call twice a week about going to Sierra Leone. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not a fan of waking up dead. So no, I'm not going over there. So they can handle that shit. But all that, and I didn't even think about this, but no, they're moving shit from off of Venezuela. They're bringing it through there. Iran's funding it. Venezuela's funding it. And so I'm taking a look at this and I'm like, this is such a solvable problem. Why are we unassing this, man? Well, if you do the math on it, in the Red Sea right now, when the Houthi rebels are doing piracy and shooting ships and shit like that. Do you know how much one drone, the Houthi rebels, how much they pay for that drone? They paid $2 million for a drone that they use. The United States, we are using the same technology to fight these fucking nerds, and we're paying 70 times more. So the U.S. is paying $140 million for one of the drones to fight these other guys. It is what it is, man. I'm looking at it through an economic lens. They're paying 70 times less than what we're paying. And that's some shit that we could be unassing down in Venezuela or down in Latin America. We could be asking them right now. We're not investing the resources. And you could say all day long, yeah, we can put a DA task force or some special operations. We can put them down there. Fuck that shit, man. No, let's do grown ass, man. Let's think about this. Let's play chess, not checkers.
Yeah, there you go.
I believe, I believe
Go on,
this,
Bobby.
guys, that for many years, even though we were supporting Colombia and Peru, and we had Operation Snowcap, and we had all of these operations against the Medellin cartel that ended up with the death of Pablo Escobar, and then later on the arrest of the Bali cartel and the Cali cartel, and so on. We as a country neglected Latin America, which is our backyard, and we allowed China, we allowed Iran, Russia, North Korea to put a stronghold, including their praxis, which is Hezbollah and Hamas, that have a large narcotic operation. They started operating out of Colombia, then they moved their operation to Venezuela. Venezuela issued them hundreds of passports. And in the island of Margarita is a very beautiful island that belongs to Venezuela. They even have terrorist training camps operating there, where they bring people from the FARC and from other armed groups to train in that island. So if I know it, and I'm not in the intelligence community, and I'm not in government, I'm pretty sure that the government knows what's going on. I mean, they have plenty of people already in OFAC, listed in OFAC. They have made a lot of arrests. When the war with Israel started, 400 high-ranking members of Hezbollah landed in Venezuela and are now hiding in plain sight in Margarita. Why? Because they give them documents. They don't speak Spanish that good, so any good customs officer or immigration officer or border patrol will, if they speak Spanish, they know that that guy is not Venezuelan. But to travel around Latin America and move around in the tri-border region, or to go to Peru or hide in Argentina all the way down to the Patagonia, it's very easy for them to navigate with these Venezuelan passports. And the danger is that we named Cartel de los Soles a terrorist organization. We named the Tren de Aragua a narco-terrorist organization, both of them. But we haven't named the Venezuelan government itself a narco-terrorist state. And that needs to happen so people understand that the boats that we are attacking and the semi-submersibles that we are attacking, they're not fishermen. Those boats are illegal to navigate. They're not for fishing or recreation. They're illegal. And nobody goes fishing in a semi-submersible. They are specifically used to move drugs through all the rivers, through the ocean, up through Central America from Venezuela, or to the other islands near Venezuela, as a staging points. Is that your take, Jack?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, when we first met, we talked about the cocaine corridor Let's be clear for your listeners who weren't on the previous show. The cocaine corridor runs with the seven CENTAM countries to the west, which is the Central American countries, and into the islands to the east. And when those fishing boats, when those freighters, when those submersibles, they are going to stay in the sea, and they're either going to do a couple different things. One, they're going to break for Africa when they get up to the top near the St. Martins. They're going to break for Africa, break for Portugal. Matter of fact, the Spain just past week or so just hit about 1 point some odd tons of coke on a submersible. And lastly, they'll break for the United States of America. It'll come up. I put it in football terminology. And people have heard me say this before. Bobby maybe has not heard this. My quote on this is, in-country personnel, football terminology, defensive side of the ball. In-country personnel are like the defensive line. Our agents down in the Colombias and the Venezuelas and the Surinams and Guyanas and Ecuadorian, all of that is the defensive line. The linebackers are the agents that are in the seven CENTAM countries, the agents that are in the Caribbean. They're the linebackers, working with the locals and working with the state officials in those particular countries to stop the flow of drugs. The defensive backs are the agents that are sitting in cones, continental United States. They're the last line of defense. The safeties and the cornerbacks are up there trying to knock them off. Once it gets started, it's like a train. You know what they would say with like a locomotive. Once a locomotive gets started, it's hard to stop. But once that
the
gets
momentum,
started,
man.
it's momentum is going to keep coming. Yes, sir. So what it is, it's drugs moving north, like Bobby said earlier. Money moving south. I also say one other thing: drugs moving northeast, going to the northeast. But remember that border, that whole border segment of 2,200-mile border from Brownsville, POE, Texas, to the port of entry in San Ysidro, California, 2,200 miles. We shifted, and everyone else kind of shifted over that way as well. But that's a big ask. And if you don't have cooperative, informants, it's hard to locate and knock down these loads. And I know we're getting off on a little of a tangent here, but going back to the cocaine corridor, what's occurring down there right now, my 4 years down there as a boss, I never saw Uncle Sam have so many toys and resources and assets in that part of the region as the last several months has been occurring. And it's gloves off. It's definitely gloves off. So what are they going to do? They'll adjust. They'll call an audible. They'll adjust. What'll they do? Start taking it more over land. We lose a load here, we lose a load there. It's price of doing business. It's like the department store. They lose so much clothes in a month, and it's price of doing business. That's been going on for years and decades and decades and decades. But they're still making money. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and we're the problem. The United States is the problem because they're not going to be making money if it's economics, man. Supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So that's where it goes down. And no, it's like Jack, when you were talking about submersibles, like people don't understand. I mean, like, what do you, if you're, I don't care if you have FLIR or whatever, but if you're looking overhead and you see a boat with a transom that's got 425 horsepower Johnson or Evinrudes, and this and this thing's doing maybe 8 knots an hour. What's that mean? They got drugs or guns or whatever sank beneath that. That's what it is. And so when you guys go to hit that thing, what do? They're going to put somebody in the water. If they can't cut it, somebody is going to get in the water. If they can't cut it automatically, somebody's going to get in the water. They're going to cut it, and then they're going to plot a cord, and then there's nothing. We're fine. We don't have shit. But we know where whatever contraband we have is, that it's right here. So somebody else can come pick that shit up. You're not going to be able to find that. And the way that these guys think is, honestly, to like Jack's point earlier, Bill, it's business. It is what it is. It's just business. They're trying to make money and support their family. We're trying to catch them to not bring this shit in the United States to kill our kids. At the end of the day, for me at least, and Jack, you may differ on this, but it's the United States appetite for consumption of that product. If we didn't want to consume that product, there's not going to be a problem. But if the U.S. is going to do it, and we can't put a prohibition on that, then if you do the math on this, there were more people killed in the United States over fentanyl deaths from 2020 to 2024. And I'm not saying this through a political lens, but there were more people in the United States killed between 2020 and 2024 than there were in the global war on terror from October 2001 until 2022. And I'm talking about good guys, bad guys, innocents. There were more killed from fentanyl than. And where did fentanyl come from? It came from fucking China, dude. So it comes from China. It comes up north. And who's responsible for that? The DEA, man. They're responsible to. So I'm going to double down on what Jack said. I don't think the DEA needs to have more people. I think they need to have exponentially more people. We need to take the funding that we're putting in the IRS and put that in the DEA, man. It's the finest law enforcement agency on the planet, 1,000,000%. And if you had, we can do ICE or whatever, you can do that shit. But if you had DEA agents who they're like, no, man, you're gonna fuck around, you're gonna find out. And
I love that.
No, it is what it is, dude. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, dude.
No, I love it. I love it.
But if you do the numbers on it, more people again were killed due to fentanyl overdoses in the United States that came from China and came up from Latin America into the U.S. than in the war on terror. Are you kidding? So in 4 years, drugs killed more kids than us putting warheads on foreheads and shooting and killing bad guys in Afghanistan, Iraq, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Latin America. More people got killed due to illicit drug use than fucking gunfighting in the global war on terror. Right? Yep. So let's do the math on this. The most valuable resource we have is our youth. 1,000,000%. So if we're going to abandon those, our youth, if we're going to abandon that, what the fuck are we doing, dude? And I don't mean, again, I'm not going to apologize for using foul language, but me looking at it as a grown ass man, I'm thinking, no, dude. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense that we're not taking a proactive step in funding. And I'm not a fan of cops, don't get me wrong, but I'm also not an enemy of cops. But for us to double down and us be like, no, man, if you guys want to fuck around, you're going to find out. With us increasing our resources into the drug war, it starts with the DEA and it starts at both of our borders. And also, you have to understand that we are so geographically connected, and both you guys know this, man, from every other country on the planet. Whatever the fuck's going on in Gaza or Ukraine and Russia, that doesn't impact us directly. What does impact, it's an acronym, a DEA guy told me this. It was WIN, the acronym WIN. What's important now? And what's important now is our southern border. That's it.
Yeah, what's important now is what I said, our backyard that we neglected.
You're absolutely right, Bill.
From Latin America, we so close to Dominican Republic, we right in the backyard with Mexico, and we are right in the backyard with Canada, and all of these porous borders, because people concentrate on the southern border. But I'm telling you, tons of drugs coming through Canada also. There's a big drug trade in Canada. The cartels and the Tren de Aragua and the different organizations operate with the motorcycle gangs and with the mob in Canada, whether it's in Montreal or other places in Canada. And the Indian reservations are used, without their knowledge or with their knowledge, to come into the United States, because those are protected territories where they have their own laws. So, there's so much work that needs to be done, but we need the personnel that know how to do it. We need the funding for the personnel, and most importantly, we need to take the handcuffs the agents so they could do their job. We cannot be politically correct on everything. We want to please everybody, but sometimes it takes a little bit of being a rough type of individual to get things done, especially when it's our lives that depend on it, our children's lives in the American public. I mean, we lost more people through fentanyl than we did in the war on terror. We have lost more people in this couple of years because of fentanyl, and I think it's an outrage. What do you think, Jack?
No, I think that what we discussed was what you mentioned, what Bob mentioned, what myself mentioned. It's something that I think the general public has heard it, they understand it, majority, but that's where Uncle Sam's got to step up. And as we've always said, we're a very elite agency, not a very big agency, total package with everyone combined, maybe about 11,000 employees. Honest to God, I mean, the men and women of the DEA and the other agencies as well, but the men and women of the DEA, they go to work every day, and I said earlier, and they're going to continue to go to work. But man, wouldn't it be nice to have another couple hundred running around and knocking things down? I mean, it'd be awesome, man. If you're in Mexico City country office, and instead of having, the State Department allows us, only so many slots. So maybe we went from 20 slots, we went up to 50 slots. Maybe the office, our border office in Nogales, Arizona, it's a district office. Maybe we have 75 agents there. I'm just throwing numbers out. Would it be nice to have 150 agents there? Wow. And think about that. So it was one of the great things as a former special agent, a supervisor special agent inspector, when I went to different offices. And the bottom line was that we used to always hear was, we need more personnel. We need more personnel. We need more. This is when I was an agent inspector from 2007 to 2012, 5 long years in that thing. Learned a lot, man. But man, I saw every freaking hot spot and every great spot in this country and the world, whatever. But it was a long tour. But that's what we always hear. We need more bodies. We need more bodies. We need more bodies. Not just agent bodies, but diversion personnel, intelligence personnel, support personnel. And that's where, President, the current administration right now, let's be honest, our budget is $3 billion a year. Oh my God, it sounds like a lot. An aircraft carrier costs $13 billion to build. $13 billion. We got our budget's $3 billion. How about we bring it up to 5? It's a nothing. It's a nothing.
And you know what upsets me the most is the political parties play. They like kids in the schoolyard. They can't get along. We can't work in a common goal, which is the best for the American public. The Democrats are on one side of the table, the Republicans on the other side, and the ones that are in the middle that don't know if they want to be Democrats or Republicans, or they change sides all the time. And we can't agree to anything. We always have to be attacking each other inside the government. And I think that we waste more time on those attacks than we do actually taking care of business.
Because, I agree with you, man. I think
it is impossible to see that a country like the United States, that we have delayed flights because they're not paying our people, because they can't agree to a budget, but they don't cut their salaries. I bet you if we stop the senator salaries, the congressman salaries, and the assemblyman salaries, they'll get to work real fast to get a budget. But it's not affecting them. When they say the salaries are too big, they give themselves a raise. When they say we don't need this, they buy more stuff for them. They spend the money that's given to them in a fiscal year buying garbage just so they get more money the next fiscal year. When in the reality is we need to work as a team so we could get things done. We have enemies out there that want to kill us, that want to take over our way of life. And I'm an immigrant, and I love this country because it gave me, my brother, my mother, and my family a great life, a great education. I got to see the world. And maybe if I was in my country of origin, maybe I wouldn't have those opportunities. But I cherish that more than some Americans, more than people that are born here. Because I seen both sides of the aisle. I seen what being very poor is and what not having and what having is. And I'd rather be on this side where I could call it home, where I don't have to be looking behind my back that somebody's going to come and kidnap me or do something to me. And if we don't cherish that freedom, and we could lose it, and we losing it one step at a time. Every year they're coming up with new things.
So where we sit on that, man, is we can, first of all, everything you're saying, Bill, I agree with 1,000,000%. I agree with. Now, if you look at what the Romans did, the Romans sat around and they talked about it. And the Roman Empire was one of the greatest empires ever, if not the greatest. And what happened to them? They got fucking destroyed. So you push forward and you look at us as the United States. We are the when I say primal, I don't mean that through a carnal lens, but where I'm looking at it is, first of all, we have to focus on North America, not only the United States, but North America. And so I'm agreeing with everything you said. To take it back to something you said, Jack, about more resources, how do you think it would go down, dude? Honestly, if, let's say, DEA stayed at the same numbers, they stayed at the same number of people, and then they took the United States Marine Corps and they're like, all right, we're gonna tell you guys where to go, what to do, and we're gonna flood Latin America. So you don't need, the money's already spent for a Marine. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna sit around and field day all day and go PT? Or no, you can be a task force like a JTF-6. You can do that, and then you go down to Latin America. The last thing you want to see is a goddamn U.S. Marine Corps battalion coming and flooding into you. No. So that's a disincentive. And so what do you look for with somebody, a bad actor or a good actor, whoever it is? You want to look at what their incentives are, number one. Number two, what their disincentives are. Number three, if you can't identify either one, then you create one. Do you not think that somebody would have an incentive in a country who's, whether it's Canada or whether it's Latin America, something coming up from Mexico, if you have federal agents who are DA agents who they're telling these guys, go locate, close with, and destroy these motherfuckers? And do you think that's going to disincentivize bad guys to do dumb shit? Hell yeah, it will, man. And I'm asking, I'm not saying that through my through any type of authority. I'm asking, do you think that would be tenable?
I am so sorry. I'm messing with my computer right now because I'm running out of juice. I apologize. 1 second. Hang on 1 second, guys. 1 second. I'm on a laptop and I'm trying to get my thing juiced up. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah, no, we could hear you. We could see
I got you.
We could see you moving around, but we see.
Yeah, I think we're back on a laptop. We're plugged in. My wife is actually over here, and she's technically putting it together. We're good. We're back. We're plugged in.
So what do you two guys think about that? That if we were to put U.S. military boots on the ground in that country, not as an invasion or not as occupying, but to combat that from flowing north?
I tell you something. My belief is we need to get rid of the Maduro regime, because the Maduro regime, as a socialist government, has inundated and collaborated to put other socialists in power. They pay for most of the campaign. for the Mexican president. They paid for the campaign of Petro in Colombia. They have paid for campaigns in Bolivia, in Ecuador, even though in Ecuador they lost and their socialist counterpart didn't get in. And just think about this. If the Drug Enforcement Administration has 11,000 men and women in all positions within the agency, the two main gangs of paramilitary groups, Comando Vermelho and Comando Capital in Brazil, have over 45,000 men and women that are paramilitary trained. And I'm talking about hardcore. I don't know if you saw this last week, 130 of them died, and they had a shootout in the capital.
Yep.
Rio.
Yep.
Near the favelas, right? But
Yep.
they didn't capture. They are operating in 60 different countries around the world. The Tren de Aragua has over 7,000 men and women, and they got into Europe very easy because they don't need a visa to go into Spain. All you need is a ticket and a current passport, and you in the European community, and they spread it like cancer. They just arrested 14 of them, and they were into prostitution, narcotics, homicides, everything. In Colombia, 759 homicides committed by that group alone. And in Colombia, you have the FARC, about 8,000 men and women, which is not called the FARC anymore. It's called the nueva Marquetalia. You have the ELN with another 6,000 or 7,000 men and women. Then you have the Golfo clan, which is an offshoot of the AUC, right-wing paramilitaries, with about 10,000 men and women. And they are operating even in Dubai. So these transnational criminal syndicates that were operating in Latin America are now crossing borders and bringing their terror into those areas to destabilize our democracy. Because if they destabilize our partners in Europe, it's going to hurt the bottom line, which is us. They did it to us when they opened up those borders without, controlling who was coming in. And I think that if we don't go to the source and kill it at the source, we're going to have big problems. We already have our own criminals. We don't need to bring criminals from other countries. We already have a criminal problem in the US. We have plenty of gangs here. We don't need foreign gangs coming in with a violence that we're not used to seeing in the streets of America.
Agreed. Very, very knowledgeable, Bill. I mean, like I said, last time we talked, very knowledgeable. We talk off camera, You're very knowledgeable when it comes to that. And I know people are trying to figure it out. I mean, think about that. One gang at a time, brother. One gang at a time.
No, but we are the biggest gang. We are the government.
Absolutely, we are.
The U.S. We have to work and stop fighting amongst ourselves. We have to put our political differences aside and look at the bottom line, which is our survival. We cannot continue with this nonsense because we can't agree to anything. If we cannot agree to a budget, how can we agree to fighting a foreign enemy? How can we agree for you to give me the budget to fight that enemy? How can we agree to anything? Every time, and I'm apolitical. Anytime the president is trying to do something, they trying to block him in every door. They try to close every door he tries to push. And that's not the way to operate government. You can't operate like that when you have the enemy inside your own house.
You've taken the words out of my mouth, brother. I mean, let's move on to another topic.
Okay, let's talk about life work imbalance and burnout, the aftermath.
Well, let's take it back real quick to the topic that we just discussed. I think the easy lift on that, and it's going to sound horrible, and it's not anything pejorative, but I think the easy lift is just go kill bad guys, man. That's it.
There you go.
That's it. But so now let's go to the other question about work-life balance.
Yeah. Okay, Jack.
Yes.
How do you avoid burnout in high-stress work as a DEA agent?
Got to have outside activities. Got to have a good. You got to have a good family to come from. You know, go home to your wife or girlfriend or whatever you're doing, and have a good. Something outside of law enforcement. Myself personally, enjoy the beach. Working out, doing different things, keeping your mind straight. Have a little humor in life. Laugh a little bit, have fun, relax. Calm down. So I've seen so many people that are so wired, so tight. I mean, people might think I'm freaking wired tight, but I mean, I don't think I'm wired that tight. But I have outside interests, and I think that's what it's a good work balance. I mean, think about this. I'll give you an example. Here you are. You get up in the morning. It's 0400. You go out. And you go kick a bunch of doors in, because why? You have what we call a roundup, and so you're going to you have 50 warrants, 50 arrest warrants, 50 federal arrest warrants to execute, plus another 10 search warrants, and you're in charge of this. You're the case agent. Your hair's on fire. You go and you do it. There's your lovely bride. She goes to Manhattan. She takes the choo-choo train from Princeton, New Jersey, goes up to New York, and she's doing her thing. And she comes home. It's a Friday night. Now you've been out since 0400 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you come home now at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. You just had a hell of a day. And she looks at you and she says, "So, where are we going to dinner tonight? What do you think?" Right? You got to say, "Let's go to dinner. We're going to an Italian joint in Princeton. Let's go, man." Right? Got to go. You know what you're doing. So you got to understand. You got to have that person that's going to take the edge off you, or your buddies calling you up and saying, "Hey, you want to go to a game or whatever?" So work balance is very important.
You know what I say, Jack?
What's that?
I'm the boss in my house when my wife is not home.
Oh yeah, exactly. There you go. Good one, brother. Good one. Yes, sir. That's my take on it, man. That's my take. Yes, sir.
Bob, how did the job affect your personal relationships? I know most of us. I mean, I'm on my third marriage, so I'm like a professional matrimonial expert. How do you handle it?
For me, I tell you what, I would say probably, I think when my first husband and I were getting divorced and I met my second husband, no, I'm bullshitting, man.
Bobby.
That's a good one, Bob. That's a good one.
I apologize. Wife's gonna crack you in the head.
Yeah, dude. No, I've been married to my wife for 35 years, and so she was with me during the special operations thing and the counterterrorism thing, and then at CAA. She knows I'm a nerd. I'm not Jason Bourne or anything like that, but at the same time, if a problem's got to be solved, I have to solve the problem. And so the majority of the time, I will say this unequivocally, she will agree with it. Well, I hope she would agree with it, but she handles shit around the house. That's it. And when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about doing housework or anything. I'm talking about just managing the day-to-day life. That was not something that I would do. So I'm going out doing grown-ass man shit. She's handling this back here. And I would say since probably 2019. Now I'm doing the other thing. She and I have been able to balance it so much because she knows, just like yours, Jack's, my resume, on paper, it looks like we're Superman. In reality, I think we're all kind of retarded. So you fast forward on that. My wife gets it, and so no, she is the best person that I've ever been around. But again, we raised each other, man. I'm 53, she's 52. We're about to have 35 years of marriage. That she knows that she's not married to fucking Jason Bourne, that she's married to an idiot, pretty much. And I know that I'm married to next thing, the closest thing you can get to Mother Teresa is what I'm married to. But we balance it. And I'm saying, as far as me being an idiot, I'm not saying that in jest. Her being, or I am saying that, no, I am an idiot. But to take it back to her, no, she's a saint to put up with my shit. But it's just, we raised each other, man, and it's growing up together. That's how we balance it. But I will say this: if you don't, I'm not saying put a governor on it, because I tend to land on the side of no brakes, all gas. But if you don't have some guardrails in place, shit will get sideways 1,000,000%. And thank God for everything, that my wife is not, after the shit that I put her through, that she's not dipped. So there is no such thing, waving to my son, there is no such thing as work-life balance in this job. No. And that's why I left, man. I was either walking out the front door or jumping out the window.
Many years ago, I was invited as a guest with Michael Levine, a DEA legend, undercover.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Levine, Group 33, baby.
Right. And Mike, invited me to be part of a program, and it was called Identity Crisis. And what happens to undercovers that sometimes lose track of who they are because they're playing somebody all the time. And it was a very interesting program. It was done by the BBC, called Identity Crisis. Jack, did you deal with that balancing when you were a younger agent and you worked undercover, that you said, okay, today I'm Jack, but tomorrow I might be Tony? Did you have that problem, or you never had that?
I never had that problem. I kept it compartmentalized. I never had that issue. I never went deep cover, like a Joe Pistone or whatever. I never went deep cover. Cover for us was, maybe a couple days, a couple months. You're doing your thing.
Have you seen guys within the agency that had to deal with that?
Boy, that's a great question. I've seen some of our guys who definitely needed assistance, needed help because of mental, psychological issues. And you got to remember something, and your audience has to remember this. We carry weapons for a living, and you better be on the ball, because if not, if your bosses or even your counterparts are not picking up on the red flags, something might go bad. And it's very it's something that we have to be very cognizant of. But for myself, that I witnessed it, there were a couple lads that were a couple guys that were bad, super badasses, and they couldn't shake it. That was kind of rough. One particular gentleman, I won't name names, but when I was a young FNG, we all know what FNG is, a freaking new guy, freaking new girl. I said this on your last show. I mean, that's what it is. You're a freaking new guy. And I was a new guy at 24 years old coming on the job. And I meet this legend. I mean, this dude was a legend, and he had nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the new guys. You had to prove yourself. But once you prove yourself, you can kick a door, how to secure a building, secure defense. If a fight breaks out, you're going to jump right in there and take care of business. Working undercover, you're doing the right thing, you're saying the right stuff. Then they start to okay. Remember, when I came on board, I was dealing with guys who fought in the Vietnam War. Got their college degrees, then they came on board, and they seen death when they were 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're coming on board now. They're a federal, United States Drug Enforcemente Administration special agent. Wow. And
Edward Hatcher was one of them.
Edward Hatcher, God rest his soul, killed on by Gus Ferracci, killed
right in Staten Island.
Staten Island, and it's funny. I shouldn't say it's funny, but when I was in Philadelphia, I was a young agent. Gus Ferracci allegedly was sighted up in the Pocono Mountains. They sent a team of us up there. I was one of them because I was from the Allentown area. I knew the Poconos. They sent us up there for 30-day assignment. Couldn't find him. We then were pulled back to Philly, and about a week or two later, they blew him up in, I think it was Brooklyn. I think it was
in Brooklyn, one of the streets in Brooklyn.
Yeah, they blew him up.
Him and his partner, both of them got killed.
And say what you want about it, but the word on the street was from the gangsters up there. And we did the same thing with the Scarfo boys in Philly. We put pressure on them. Pressure.
Because they hit every social club at the time. They hit everything. They couldn't work.
They were hitting all the bodegas. They were hitting all the locations, all the money spots, all the gambling spots. We did the same thing. And we're not even freaking, basically, we're blessed to do dope work. And we're coming and kicking doors and hitting the gambling spots, flipping tables over like in the movies and that shit, and that. And it's like, whoa. And what happens is, it's like, that's the guy. Get rid of him. That's why they're here. Get rid of it. And that's what Faraci got blasted on the street up in Brooklyn, New York. For your listeners that don't know that case, check it out.
Yeah, and not only that, but he was very addicted to steroids.
Mm-hmm.
He was, he used to go into roid rages. Where, because those, you're lifting and you're doing all of those anabolics, and they really do a job on people.
And I think Bobby can attest this too. I mean, being a Marine Recon, super high speed, low drag kind of guy, CIA, stars on the wall of honor, U of NYPD personnel, killing dude in the work, the line of work that we all were involved in. I want to put a shout out to those people. And one particular guy, I'm going to do it anyway. Eugene T. McCarthy, Cobra gunship helicopter pilot, my roommate in the academy. Killed first Gulf War, February 2nd, 1991, crashed his Cobra. He was killed. And we were classmates. Naval Academy graduate, Marine Corps, #1 in our class, went back to San Diego. Miss him every day. Good fellow, good dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have passed that did a lot of great work in all of the agencies. But the Hatcher case touched everybody in law enforcement. I mean, because he was a recruiter for the DEA for a while,
Sure.
And a lot of people met him. A lot of people got recruited by him. So
if I can give you some homework, I'm not trying to ignore Bob. But if I can give you some homework, go on the 75th Police Precinct. There's a street named after him, Eugene T. McCarthy. He was buried in Calvary Cemetery, and they have a run from every year. I live right
next to Calvary Cemetery.
Boom! Go see his grave and go say a prayer for him. Eugene T. McCarthy. It's where he was buried, and he was there's a street named after him in Brooklyn, New York. He was in the 75 Police Precinct area. Yeah. So
Jack, I'm sorry for your loss, dude.
Oh man, good dude, man. You would have loved him, man. Bob, you would have loved the guy. Irishman, 6'1", 6'2", 205, 210, stud. Good dude. And they took him for another. The universe works in mysterious ways, man. Works in mysterious ways. Yep.
That sucks, man. So
yeah,
I'm sorry for your loss, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I would guarantee you that he probably went out doing what he loved.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to go out that way, or do you want to go out in an old folks home with a colostomy bag?
He was definitely a hero, man. Snowcapper. He was a snowcapper. And his unit got called up. His gunship helicopter unit got called up out of Pendleton, and they had to go over December of 1990. They got it in country, and he was killed February 2nd, 1991. Yep.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
That
mechanical failure was not his fault. Mechanical failure. Failure. And
sorry to hear that.
What's crazy about? I know we're off on a tangent here, but what's really crazy about this is I met the investigating Marine officer on the beach that went out and saw the chopper that morning. That's how small of a world it is. He was from Connecticut.
That is
small
wild,
world.
Man.
Yeah, and he knew the issue. He was part of that investigation, and he told me, he said it was not his fault because the gunship, as you know, the Cobras.
A64.
Yep, and snapped their both. They all snapped their seat. Him and the co-pilot snapped their force because of his death. They did the NASCAR harnesses now, attachments to the back of the helmet so they don't go forward, and they put tighter rigs up, tighter belts on them. And maybe that was the reason why he went. They'll save other pilots' lives.
Eugene McCarthy.
Gene McCarthy. Gino, my man Gino. What a guy. I still think to this day, he put extra rounds in my target on final qualifications.
So you're like this.
With the SIG 226s, I'm telling you, he stood next to me, McCarthy, MCC, McFarland, MCF, in the same bay where our hands are tired. We have 17 weeks of shooting down range, or 16 weeks. And man, we fired so many rounds and final qualification, baby. And McCarthy was shot for the possible club. He made the possible club. The guy would go out there and, oh my God, he'd be trick shooting. I'm just kidding. But, I'm maybe like an 80. I'm like an 88, 89. Like, oh my God, don't let it get to you.
So McCarthy's on the left, McFarland's on the right, and then he's dumping arounds in your shit just to make sure that you didn't go home.
The little front side over, boom, 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 boom. Turning the target for Jack. I'll take care of him,
But man, this fucking nerd is a high school teacher. He's not gonna pass. I gotta hook my homie up.
Yeah, yelling in my ear. I'm like, leave me alone, man. Leave me alone, dude. Jesus Christ.
That's a true homie, dude.
Yeah.
I've had it happen to me too, where dudes will dump rounds on my target. Same thing, man. So no shit happens, dude.
It's just a little tweak of the weapon and bam, bam. Because you're like close together in the base, So it's brass to be hitting you in the face and that. Oh my God, the good old days, right?
Oh man, you can't make it up, dude. That warms me, dude. But so now you got a good story to tell about one of your homies who, rest in peace, man. Yeah, that fucking sucks, dude. So I'm sorry for your loss, dude.
Yeah, thanks, brother. No, thanks.
Me too.
Many years ago. Solid guy, man. Solid dude. Solid guy.
Grateful he dumped rounds on your target, though.
Yeah, I still to this day, because I'm telling you, what happened was in the instructors. Now, if I may share a little quicker, so the instructors come and says, McCarthy, what's this? It's final qualification. You only shot like a 92. McFarland, a 92? I mean, they're like, I'm like, yeah, 92, man. 90, whatever the hell it was. Like, I said, I take the challenge. I took the challenge. I'm thinking that's about 3 or 4 more rounds I should have had in that target, because they try to count them all on paper. I know I'm throwing them off there. Can you believe we used to shoot the 50 from the 50-yard with a handgun, 10 rounds, 50-yard line.
With you guys, I can believe that. With best shooters on the planet.
Oh my God. I mean, you talk about learning how to use your front sight. Wow.
Yeah.
And we did.
Let me ask you guys, what is the worst pop-up culture myth about, start with you, Jack, DEA?
We're all on the take. We're a bunch of cowboys.
And then after that big program they had, remember the show DEA?
Boy, that was on fat. That was a miscarriage of justice for us, man. Whoever the executive producer on that was, they should have been fired, man.
Right, and whoever told them how to act and how to do it,
they couldn't do it. You got to bring the real. You got to bring the real deals. It's like Full Metal Jacket when they brought Riddle in. What is his name? Emery Riddle, whatever. And who was the producer in that movie said, you get in as a DI, you're a real DI, go do it. And he walks in there, my name is Sergeant Hartman, I'm a primary drill instructor. That's what you need today. There's people out there. Can I get on the shows, please? Get out there and do the real stuff.
What is the worst pop culture myth about the CIA besides Jason Bourne?
No, everything's true. Everything's true. I remember the first time I did a hostage rescue mission and killed bin Laden and delivered a baby, and also I cured cancer, but that's not posted yet. But no, they're a bunch of fucking nerds.
No. Listen, Bob, you didn't finish the right way. If I tell you, I have to kill you.
Oh yes.
Is that one of the words?
Do I have to fucking tell you that?
Right. No, I want you to repeat it and explain it, because that is what, we talked about that yesterday, that, you talk to people, I can't discuss that, that's if I tell you, I'm going to have to kill you.
The thing about it, man, is there are a lot of great people who are doing amazing work in the interest of national security, 1,000,000%. The other side of that is my next door neighbor. He works for the NRO, which I consider that the National Retard Organization, but that's who he works for. But he won't tell you where he works for. And I spent 4 years undercover at the agency. I don't have a problem. I'll tell you. Everything I've done has already been declassified, so I'll be like, yeah, I've done this, whatever. if you ask. But it's not something that I go out and tout myself to, because after having been there, I know it doesn't mean shit. Nobody gives a nobody cares about that stuff.
You know what they
So
say, Bobby. No one cares if you're tough ones. No one cares if you're tough ones.
a
But but
million percent. But
but Bob, let me ask you, so I don't lose this train of thought.
yeah,
But it does give you a sensation inside your stomach and your soul when you walk in the lobby in Langley and you see that wall with the stars. It has to shake you somewhere in your core every time you
no,
go past it.
no, it doesn't. Not for me. Oh no, it doesn't. I've got uh, shit. It's sitting right up there. As a matter of fact, I'll get it right now. Um, I will go on the record and say that yeah, um, this thing right
Hey,
here, this thing right here, was sitting on the wall in my boss's office, and a great guy. I can say it, I don't give a shit. I went to North Korea with him, and just a really good dude. But I don't give a shit about that thing. I've got a couple of CA badges up there. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The most important thing in this office is my paddle from Recon and a boat my son made. And if the house caught on fire, I'm getting the boat, first of all. I don't give a shit about that, but it makes for a good story. That CA emblem. The only reason why I have that thing is I stole it. No, completely. I stole
No,
it
but
in the
no, the question that I'm asking though
No, well, let me. I stole it
is
just to be an
about
asshole to my boss because
right.
it was his thing, and so I'm like, bloop, out.
Oh, but the question that I asked you, and maybe I phrased it the wrong way, is the lives that are lost, that are the reminder of those stars that are silent with no names, that nobody will ever know who they are, and they just sitting there in that wall. It has to make you think, I'm here, I'm doing such an important job, and that could be me. I could become one of those stars. It has to make you think. I mean, it has happened to me even when I walked into one police plaza and you see the big statue of the police officer holding the child, next to him, and then you look up on the walls and then you see the name of all of the officers, from the beginning of the police department all the way up till today, depending on when you go to one police plaza. But it makes you reflect on how fragile life is and how dangerous of a job we have. It has to.
Well, you will probably never have me on your podcast again after my answer to this, but no, I do not care. I don't care at all because I can look at those stars on the wall and I know that there might have been a dozen who were actually out there gunfighting, doing the best in the interest of our country. And then, like, let's look at the people who got killed in Coast. That went down because somebody fucked up. It is what it is. Scott Roberson did not. He was doing the best he could. Dan Parisi, Jeremy Wise, um, those guys were doing the best that they could to solve a problem. Somebody who was in charge of them, uh, Jennifer Matthews, I'll say it, I don't care. She fucked it up. That's where that got sideways. So her star shouldn't be on the wall. I'll go to my grave saying that her star should not be on there. She fucked it up. But why did she? Why was her performance in that poor? It was because of a lack of leadership. And from the community you came from, Jack came from, I came from, I'm not going to send someone out who's ill equipped. People do bad things. Things happen, 1,000,000%. But I will go on the record. She does not deserve a star on that wall. And I don't know the woman. I don't have a beef with her. And I don't care if she's a man, woman, whatever she is. Uh, but she put men and women's lives in harm's way and out of hubris. That was it. it was out of hubris that she thought that she had the con on this thing, and she didn't. So, and I'm not saying that through the lens of she's dead, and that sucks. She gave her life for a country. I get that, but that star on the wall for her, I don't care about. I don't. It is what it is. It sucks that she died. Her husband is a widow, or widower. Her children don't have a mother. But no, I'm not going to shed a tear for her. Will I shed a tear for Dan Parisi, Jeremy Wise, Scott Roberson over her bad decision? Yeah, I will. They were good men trying to do good things. So walking into there, and I've got I don't know how many photos I've got on my family and me, and me and my homies my homies and me on the seal. I've got that, but no, the luster on that, it is what it is, man. Being a grown ass man doing grown ass man shit, it's not something that I'm gonna hold my hat on. No.
All right, guys. Last words. Any advice or anything that you want to say, Jack? Because we got to cut it short. The producer's already giving me the 3 minutes time.
Just very quick, I want to thank you very much, Bill. I think this was awesome. Bobby, I want to thank you, my brother. It was really great to do the 2 guests with the host, and thanks for the opportunity. I really do. Thank you, and you know, go DEA, man. Go DEA.
And Bob.
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate both of your guys' friendship, Jack, William. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. And anytime either one of you guys want to talk, shoot shit.
And we got to do this more often because, you know, we have a lot of things to talk about. Today we were all over the place, and we wanted to have like a friendship conversation where we hit a lot of topics and get the minds out there thinking outside of the box. I believe that we cannot live in a bubble. The world is more complicated than a bubble. We have to burst that bubble and start looking at the entire picture, not just at one side of the picture. You know, we get tunnel vision, and you know, we believe that if he's not affecting us right here, right now, he's not affecting us, but it could affect us in the future. I think
I'm going to echo what Jack said. Go DEA, because what you're saying, Bill, is what's affecting us right now. What is affecting us right now? It's the drugs coming in the United States. Who can combat the drugs coming in the U.S.? 100% Jack's former organization and what I did in Recon. And so if we can use those resources to stop that, dude, the U.S., it is the greatest country on the planet. That is where we stop it right now. For our interest overseas, wherever the hell it is, for the United States interest to continue to promulgate is let's 100% weaponize, fund, and equip the DEA and allow the United States military to be a part of that, for the DEA to provide oversight for them to go do shit. And to me, it's not rocket science. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, Jack.
You're speaking right there, brother. It's awesome stuff you got there. I'd love to see that.
I agree with you guys. I agree with you guys. I think that
I'd love to see it, Bobby.
I think that the people in charge, the politicians and the people in charge, need to uncuff our police. They need to uncuff our federal agents and our military and allow them to do what they were trained to do, their job. They don't, they're not asking to do more or less. They just want to do their job. But
that's it, Bill. That is it. 100%. Let us do our job.
Right. Yep. All right, guys. God bless you. God bless your families. To all my veterans out there, my brothers and sisters, past, present, and future, God bless you guys and your families. And to the families that put up with our careers, I send you my love and many, many blessings. Until next time, this concludes this episode of Equalizer. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Bobby.
This concludes our episode for today I'd like to thank Mr. Jack McFarland and Robert Bunch. I deeply appreciate your candor, your service, and the experience you share with us today. Special thanks to our listeners and viewers. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, share with your family and friends, and follow me using the links you see below on the screen. A special thanks to our producing team. None of this is possible without your behind-the-scene dedication. Until next time, stay safe and God bless.